You have been told you are special. Maybe it came from a mentor, a spiritual experience, or a deep inner knowing that you are meant for something greater. You carry this identity of being a chosen one, someone set apart for impact, purpose, or elevation. But here is the truth most people avoid. Being chosen means nothing if you do not act. Potential is not power, action is. And for many people who hold this identity, it quietly becomes a trap instead of a calling. If you feel stuck, delayed, or like your breakthrough is always just ahead, but never arrives, then this message is for you. Because the biggest force holding you back is not enemies, not bad luck, not spiritual attacks, and not the world. It is your own habits, your own mindset, and the subtle ways you sabotage yourself. One of the most common ways you block your progress is by waiting for inspiration. You tell yourself you will start when you feel ready, when the energy is right, when motivation comes. But inspiration is unreliable. It does not show up on command. The truth is action creates inspiration, not the other way. When you move even in small ways, your mind begins to engage. But when you sit and wait, nothing happens. Days pass, then weeks, and you remain in the same place, convincing yourself that the right moment has not yet come. Another silent trap is identifying more with being the chosen one than actually doing the work. You spend time thinking about your purpose, watching content that reinforces your uniqueness, and reminding yourself that you are destined for greatness, but there is little to no output, no real work being done. The problem here is that identity without evidence becomes illusion. The world does not reward titles, it responds to results. Calling yourself something does not make it real, doing the work does. Then comes perfectionism, which often disguises itself as high standards. You tell yourself you want things to be excellent, so you keep editing, adjusting, and delaying. But beneath that is fear. Fear that if you release something imperfect, people will see you are not as special as you believe. So you hold back. You keep things unfinished, and in doing so you guarantee that nothing grows. Because something imperfect in the world has power, but something perfect in your head has none. You also hold yourself back by blaming your environment. You point to lack of support, lack of money, difficult circumstances, emotional struggles, or timing, and while those things may be real, they become dangerous when they turn into excuses. Because there are people in worse situations who still take steps forward. Waiting for perfect conditions is a delay strategy. Progress does not come when everything is aligned. It comes when you decide to act anyway. Comparison is another quiet destroyer. You look at people who are ahead of you and measure your beginning against their middle. You see their polished work, their success, their confidence, and you feel behind. What you do not see is their years of struggle, failure, and growth. This comparison drains your energy and convinces you to stop before you even begin. But your only real competition is who you were yesterday. Growth is slow and often invisible in the moment, but it is always happening when you stay consistent. There is also the habit of talking too much about what you plan to do instead of doing it. You announce your goals, your mission, your ideas, and people praise you. That praise feels good and gives you a sense of progress, but in reality nothing has been built yet. That early validation reduces your drive to follow through. You become addicted to the idea of doing instead of the act of doing, and slowly your momentum fades. Another way you sabotage yourself is by avoiding boredom. You fill every quiet moment with distractions like your phone, social media, or constant noise, but creativity requires space. Your mind needs silence to think, to connect ideas, and to generate direction. When you never allow yourself to be still, you cut off your own creative flow, and what you call feeling blocked is often just a mind that has never been given room to breathe. You may also reject small steps because they feel too insignificant for someone like you. You believe your path should be big, fast, and impactful. You want the final result without respecting the process. But everything meaningful is built in small, consistent actions, one step at a time, one effort repeated daily. When you dismiss small beginnings, you block the only path that leads to big outcomes. Then there is your environment. If you surround yourself with people who constantly affirm you without challenging you, you stay comfortable. You hear what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. Growth requires truth even when it is uncomfortable. Without honest feedback, you remain blind to your weaknesses, repeating the same patterns without realizing it. And finally, the deepest form of self-sabotage is the fear of actually succeeding. This is not always obvious. On the surface, you want success, but deep down, your identity is tied to being the one with potential. If you succeed, that identity disappears. You are no longer becoming, you are now responsible for being, and that responsibility can feel overwhelming, so you delay. You hesitate, and you unconsciously create obstacles to stay in the familiar space of almost there. All of these patterns point to one truth. Your greatest obstacle is internal, not external, and the moment you accept that is the moment you regain power, because what is internal can be changed. You may truly have gifts. You may have a calling, but none of that will manifest without consistent, imperfect, real-world action. No force outside of you will complete your mission. You have to show up daily, even when you do not feel like it, even when it is messy, and even when no one is watching. So instead of holding tightly to the identity of being chosen, shift your focus to being committed. Instead of waiting, start. Instead of explaining, build. Instead of dreaming, execute. Choose one small action today and follow through. Because in the end, the person stopping you is not out there, it is you, and the person who can move you forward is also you.